6 p.m. in Nyasoso, that is in the southwest region of Cameroon. Good evening, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. First, our major stories. Teachers, students and parents gathered in their numbers at the premises of Government Bilingual High School Nilong Basi Douala to bid farewell to Dian Yango, the English and French teacher who was brutally beaten to death by her husband several weeks ago. They all decried the rising cases of femicide in Cameroon while regretting the fact that they lost someone whom they consider as a model. We'll be having greater details in this edition of the news. And away from that, a Form 5 student at Kali Technical and Grammar School in Dibanda, Malforting Boya in the southwest region is currently battling for his life after he was stabbed severely by a Form 3 student. A mobile phone is said to be the major bone of contention. And over to sports, we'll tell you how the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Fekafut Samuel Etofis, faces yet another legal proceeding as 55 football players in Cameroon have lodged a complaint with the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS. Details and more of all these stories will be yours in a few seconds. Stay with us for this newscast. We'll begin with a sad story as teachers, students, family members and well-wishers gathered at GBH's Nilong Basi to pay homage to Dian Yango, the teacher who was brutally beaten to death by her husband on the 18th of November 2023. Our reporter Cedric Chakutio says many took the opportunity to condemn the rising cases of femicide recorded in the country. We have details in this report.
Students, parents, colleagues and even old students were gathered at Government Bilingual High School of Nilong Basi to give a last homage to Dian Yango, a teacher of the school beaten to death by her husband on the 18th of November 2023.
Our confident, our principal teacher, we, the students of St. Kevin, are not happy for your death. Why is it you that the mighty God chose? You were like a mother for us, an example for us.
Tu nous as formés d'amour et d'apprentissage. Au lycée, comme à l'extérieur, tes yeux brillaient comme une lumière. Ton sourire illuminait et, comme un soleil, malgré tout, tu nous maintenais toujours en éveil.
To her colleagues, she was a model.
Yango était une personne spéciale, très spéciale. Moi, je l'appelais mon génie, maman, celle qui connaît tout, celle qui peut tout. Mon chagrin aujourd'hui, c'est seulement qu'elle a cru en moi que je pouvais tout, mais je n'ai pas pu l'arracher des mains de son bourreau. Et ça me fait très mal. Peut-être si j'avais été un peu violente, elle ne serait pas couchée dans ce secret à ce moment.
Fervent defender of teachers' rights with the LTS movement, her fighting spirit is still in the mind of her hierarchy.
Elle a fait pleurer les collèges pour leur manque d'engagement. Le mouvement OTS, elle a dit qu'elle repose. Et elle n'était pas du tout d'accord avec ceux des enseignants qui ne s'en donnaient pas complètement. La nouvelle est tombée. Le choc était immense. Une partie de moi reste encore dubitative. Est-ce qu'elle est vraiment partie?
The death of Dian Yango, killed by her husband, was shocking to many Cameroonians who publicly denounced the brutal manner life was squeezed out of her. Dian Yango will be buried on the 30th of March in Moya, Kam division of the Littoral region.
After Dian Yango, who next? Cameroonians are decrying the rising cases of femicide and they are hoping that measures will be taken in order to limit these cases. Away from that, violence on the rise in school milieux. A Form 5 student of Kali Technical and Grammar School in Dibanda, Malforting, Boya, Southwest region is currently receiving medical care at the Limba Regional Hospital after he was stabbed severely by a Form 3 student. This resulted from a dispute over a mobile telephone. Innocent Aze reports.
It is at the Kali Technical and Grammar School Zibandamai 14 Boya that a Form 5 student called Fundo Romeo Rodriguez was stabbed severely on the head and face with the help of a knife by a Form 3 student, Eta Evan, over a telephone. A dispute generated between both technical students over a mobile telephone, leading to a fight. When Romeo Rodriguez slapped Evan, the Form 3 student, he went back home and reported to his mother, who arrived at the campus not knowing. Her son returned with a knife on him, which he used to stab Romeo Rodriguez severely with enormous blood oozing. Romeo Rodriguez was quickly rushed to a nearby health facility for first aid treatment before being referred to the Limbe Regional Hospital.
My name is Teko Armstrong, the chairman of the Banda Traditional Council. The wound was so severe that they have to refer us to Limbe Regional Hospital. The condition is serious, but the child is stable. It's stable. I think for now there's not a life-threatening issue. So, but we are closely monitoring the situation. Mother of the stabber was almost molested by some angry young men, thanks to the prompt intervention of gendarmes. The mother was arrested by the gendarmerie, whom I called to come and rescue because there was angry all over. The student, on his part, has been whisked for interrogation.
And we stay in the southwest region as inhabitants of Bekumu in Bamusu subdivision now live in fear and uncertainty. This is as a result of recent severe floods that destroyed several houses, schools, plantations, and even public buildings. The situation remains worrisome to the local population. The mayor of Bekumu and some authorities visited the seashore where some trees are still lying on the ground. Asa Luciliengu reports.
The aftermath of the severe floods in Bekumu, Bamuso subdivision is still visible. Several houses destroyed, giant trees uprooted from the ground at the seashore. This is the situation we are facing. If you look behind me, you will see trees removed from the ground by water. Then you will understand the pressure. The situation remains a major preoccupation to inhabitants and authorities who on a daily basis are struggling to determine the cause of the encroaching seawater.
Come see, more see the situation, assess the situation.
We came to see and access the situation, if possible, the way forward. So the government has to send technicians.
Because we know the best place for know what to do, but they'll send technicians.
Considering the magnitude of the overflow in Bekumu, the people hope that the government considers it as a humanitarian emergency.
For call on the government again for do something for the people of Bekumu and Bamuso subdivision in particular and Bakassi in general.
However, the local population say the only way out of this is through land reclamation. If not, they fear Bekumu will one day disappear.
Still talking about the environment, according to an environmentalist, non-biodegradable plastics take a period of 400 years to decompose, a major problem to the environment, especially in Douala, where plastic waste could be spotted on major streets. To environmentalists, these plastics are toxic and so need to be avoided by humans at all costs. Our reporter Seji Chakuche reports on the dangers of these non-biodegradable plastics in our environment today.
100 years old. This is the average number of years for a plastic bag to decompose. These materials made of petroleum have invaded the streets of the economic capital, Douala. These statistics were given by the Research and Education Center for Development. Everywhere in town, you will see enormous plastic waste, and the percentage of plastic waste is increasing. If in 2016 we were at 20% of waste, today in 2024 we are at 60%. Made up of numerous toxic chemical substances, this plastic waste poses a threat to humans as well as biodiversity. It was scientifically proven that plastic waste are toxic for the human body and the health.
surtout pour les jeunes filles.
According to Cameroonian regulation, companies producing waste are themselves responsible for their management. Yet, nothing is done. The volume of plastic waste is gradually increasing.
Une réglementation sans application, c'est tout simplement l'absence de réglementation. Donc, ils ne mettent pas les moyens pour mettre en œuvre la réglementation. Et quand on ne met pas en œuvre les réglementations, tout cela vient. Et maintenant, il revient à nous, les consommateurs, les citoyens, de prendre conscience de notre santé et de notre impact. Les faits, c'est d'abord individuel, donc on peut changer. Maintenant, en attendant que le gouvernement ait les moyens d'agir, nous pouvons changer nos habitudes et amener ces industriels-là à changer.
Eliminating the production of problematic plastics and promoting the use of biodegradable plastics will be a sustainable solution to eradicate the wastes.
Cedric Chakutia reporting there on the devastating effects of dumping plastic waste on our major streets and junctions in Cameroon. And out of Cameroon, the 137 school children who were recently released from captivity, having reunited with their parents, they met in a government facility in the city of Kaduna in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in Senegal, the Constitutional Council is yet to validate results of last Sunday's election and, of course, the victory of Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
The long-awaited reunion was a moment of dancing, crying and tears of joy as parents of the 137 Nigerian children rescued after more than 2 weeks in captivity hugged their children for the first time since March 7, 2024. On that day, motorcycle riding gunmen seized them from their school in the remote town of Kuriga in the northwestern Kaduna state, forced them to march to nearby forest amid gunfire. They met the children in a government facility in the city of Kaduna where they were receiving medical support. Military officials have said one staff member who was taken along with the 137 students died in captivity. Elsewhere on the African continent, Bassirou Diomaye Faye's victory in Sunday's presidential election in Senegal is confirmed by the provisional official results.
Diomaye Faye, je précise que c'est 54,28%.
He got 54.28% of the vote. This was announced by the National Vote Counting Commission Wednesday. Following closely behind Faye is Amadou Ba, who secured 35.7% of the vote, positioning him in second place. The vote turnout for this election reached 61.3%. This, according to analysts, is an indication of a strong civic engagement among the Senegalese population. At 44 years, Bassirou Diomaye Faye is set to become Senegal's youngest president. Though the Constitutional Council is yet to validate the results, the provisional results already paved the way for a handover of power between incumbent Macky Sall and Bassirou Diomaye Faye by April 2nd, when Sall's mandate ends.
And we go straight away to our sports page. Several Day 2 matches of the League 1 and 2 playoffs up and down witnessed a late start in a different stadia this Thursday. The delay, sources say, was due to a disagreement between organizers of the playoffs and the different stadium directors. Smagic and Gabriel reports from that part of the country.
It was total shock to clubs involved in the playoffs, up and down of the Elite 1 and 2 Championship this Thursday. Most matches scheduled to start as from 2 p.m. didn't go on as planned. Reasons being that stadium directors of the Ngwaikele, Bepanda Annex, Mbuda, and Bafoussam Stadia refused opening their gates to both clubs and supporters who came to support their clubs. For several minutes, players were left stranded and frustrated outside the stadia alongside their supporters. According to information gathered by Equinoxe television, the refusal of opening the gates by the different stadium directors was because the Cameroon Football Federation didn't pay the dues meant for the cleaning of the stadia. It was after several negotiations involving officials of the Cameroon Football Federation and those in charge of overseeing the use of sports infrastructures within the country that the stadia were finally opened for match day 2 hostilities of the playoffs up and down to commence. With the delay observed in most of the stadia hosting the games, Fekafu Fecafoot's president Samuel Eto'o was spotted under the scorching sun at the Mbappé Stadium as he followed the game between Cameroon and Stade Rennais, which ended in a 1-1 tie.
And Victoria United recorded their second victory at the playoffs up in the League One Championship, beating Gazelle FC with a score of 1-0. And in the first match, Victoria United recorded a similar score, with 1-0 over Dynamo FC of Douala. And still in sports, over 55 football stakeholders in Cameroon are requesting that the Court of Arbitration for Sports should send away Samuel Eto'o as president of the Cameroon Football Federation. The request is contained in a letter that was sent to the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Lausanne, which also asked the judges of CAS to give 6 years suspension to the 13 members of the Executive Committee of Fecafoot. Smagic and Gabriel read through the complaints dropped by these football stakeholders to CAS and put together the following report for the 6 p.m. news.
Cameroon Football Federation Fecafoot has been dragged to court again in Switzerland just when many thought that money wouldn't be spent again on court cases. The Court of Arbitration for Sports based in Lausanne via their advisor Delphine Deschanaux-Rocha dropped a notification letter which indicated that Etoile Filan of Marwa and other former members of the Executive Committee of Fecafoot have reported the current president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, to them. The president of the Professional Football League, former Army General Pierre Semenge, Dr. Faustin Domke of expelled New Stars of Douala, former executive member of Fecafoot, Dubai Gaitama, and the former fourth vice president of Fecafoot, Henry Njalakwan, dropped a complaint with the Court of Arbitration for Sport accusing Samuel Eto'o of manipulating matches, corruption, spreading of false information, attack on physical and moral integrity. The issue of the contract of Coq Sportif that was abusively terminated by Samuel Eto'o in favor of One All Sports was also mentioned in the letter sent to CAS. For the complainants, Samuel Eto'o terminated the contract of Coq Sportif in favor of One All Sports for his selfish purpose. The complainants are now requesting the Court of Arbitration for Sports to ban Samuel Eto'o for a period of 8 years from all football activities for him to pay for his crime. At the same time, they are calling for the suspension of the 13 members of the Executive Committee of Fecafoot for a period of 6 years. The advisor of the Court of Arbitration for Sports acknowledged the reception of the letter on March 20th, 2024. The Cameroon Football Federation for now is yet to react.
That sports element ends this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Today, the Catholic Church is celebrating Holy Thursday, which is also the feast of priesthood. Over 200 priests of the Archdiocese of Douala gathered at the St. Peter and Paul's Cathedral today, Holy Thursday, for the Chrism Mass. Tonight, I'll be having as guest Father Bekumu Christopher, a priest based here in Douala. Good evening, Father. It is a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. What's the significance of such a day to a Catholic priest?
Holy Thursday signifies the feast of the priesthood. You know, when we were called and ordained as ministers of the mysteries of salvation here on earth. And it also goes a long way of being in the place of Jesus Christ here on earth. You stand in because everything that Jesus faced, the priest is going through it, because the world seems to lack understanding of the priest because they've never been to the seminary. They only come to church and do their celebration and go. So everything that human beings comment about the priest, they are out of topic. They have never sat down to come meet the priest to tell them exactly who the priest is. And we cannot stand there and begin to tell them who the priest is, because we have many, many other lessons to give people. But then it is important for Christians to learn who the priest is. He governs in the name of God. He proclaims the good news of salvation, and he brings spiritual and moral healing to the society. He transforms the society and preaches heaven to people. So he is the most important human being on earth. because he gives the mysteries of heaven to man. What God prescribes for man's salvation, it is in the hands of the priest, because Jesus is the most high priest. So we are his servants, and he chose us from the world. The book of Hebrews talks about that.
Father Christopher, Christians expect a lot from their priest. They want them to be preachers, counselors, mentors, models, and many others. Is it possible to play all of these roles as a priest?
Yes, first of all, our formation makes us fit. It's the same. You will ask you how you manage, to put on these things to make it the news, over the TV, and to ask the medical doctor how he manages to know that this is the place where the person is suffering from and what he's suffering. Or you go to the laboratory. That is, the priest is the laboratory of God. He has been formed for that. He is the giver of all the best things in the universe. And so the Holy Spirit too works. When the bishop imposes hands on you, the Holy Spirit knows everything. There is no answer about spirituality that a priest cannot give. There is no solution that he can't give as to what concerns spirituality. He may not be talking and making noise, but when you go to him and listen to him, he may just say, "Go, your faith has saved you." Just go. Because he is commanding in the name of God. He's commanding in the name of Jesus Christ. It is not a small thing. When a priest opens his mouth, it is the power of the Spirit that comes out. When he's talking in the name of God, he's not joking. He's talking on the mysteries. And that is why when you look at this camera or this mic, the person who manufactured it is a great man. It transmits a lot of things. How much more of a priest? The priest, when he prays, God enlightens him. He shows him the way. And that is why, we are happy that human being, the church is still standing because of that. If we were not fitting in well in that, it would not be easy.
Priests should have lots of challenges not known to Christians. What are some of these challenges you priests face?
I want to say that the priest has challenges as Jesus did. We have it on a second-to-second basis and many different dimensions, even in the families, because they misjudge everything you try to give them. And I want to say that the challenges a priest goes through, if they give you one, you will run. Because the devil even comes to you and says, I've come to kill you. And sometimes you pray on people, you cannot get out. You will talk to people, they will not want to listen. They will want to come and tell you theirs, and it is not easy. And I don't want to say that the priest is challenged. Sometimes a priest will not have a franc because the little they give you, as soon as the month finishes, people will come and sweep it away. Because everybody comes and cries to you. I am the youth chaplain with over 10,000 youths in the Archdiocese of Douala. That is the worst part of it, because young people are always poor. And they will see, as you welcome them, they are only for material. That is the ungrateful and an unfortunate situation. And that you are leading people spiritually, but they want to bring you down to materialism. They want to ask for material. They want you to only to pray for material, to gain a job, to have to get a child. They are never really asking for God's grace, and so they kill your spirituality. It's a big worry. And you advise people, but they will do the same thing. And that is a big challenge. Sometimes people will reject you that you are not performing miracles. You will see the people you have accompanied in the family fighting and killing each other. You find parents who are not faithful to their ministry. And when you, as a priest, you have your challenges and you fall, for example, into sin, because the priest is not a perfect human being. He can likely fall. But when a lay person gets to know the sin of a priest, they will kill him. They will condemn him because they will bring up all kinds of things. There are some of them who prepare to kill you, to bring you down, and they concoct things and come and put on you. And that is what is happening. And so I'm even begging the media, because the media is one of the most dangerous instruments that brings down the church, because they tell all sorts of lies. We have had it. And it is serious. They condemn. And you'll find Christians who are in positions of importance, they disappoint you. You know, they go the wrong way. They don't lead well. They take everything for themselves, not for the people. So those are very serious challenges. Sometimes you don't sleep because you had a problem that you don't sleep. You have to pray to look for a solution. And it has to take a long time to follow up the person to meet up with his or her challenges, especially on spiritual issues, because they don't stay there for long. They are only looking for material things. Sometimes you will tell someone who is living in sin to live out of sin. It will not be easy until the person almost dies.
Father Christopher, a lot of people always go to priest for prayers. Now, we would like to know, do priests equally need prayers? Are we also supposed to pray for our priest?
Because if you say, as far as the priest is a man, a human being, the priest needs prayers. If God, Jesus Christ, is our intercessor in the kingdom of heaven, Jesus said, pray for one another. And he said for Peter, told Peter, I will pray for you so that you will not fall. When you come back, you will strengthen your people. If we don't pray for priests, because you find every mass, you will hear the prayer for the Pope, the prayer for the bishop, the prayer for priests, the ministers who are taking charge. The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, from verse 1, is advising that you should pray for your leaders. That is the barrenness of the priest. That is the fall of the priest comes because we, instead of praying for us, people are attacking us. That is why we are weak, because people don't pray for us. Imagine that they send you to a community, they don't want you there. The people only want their own person. It's very challenging. And if you are there, you may die. Yes, so we need prayers because our challenges are horrible. And it is only in Jesus Christ that we, can survive. And that's why my system, my secret, is that I expose the Blessed Sacrament 24/24. Because I tell Jesus, you are the one who called me. It's not the bishop who called me. You call me and send me to the bishop to confirm. But he is not the one who called me. So I am not an eye servant. I serve but Jesus. And I tell Jesus, do everything to preserve me from all harm, from sin, from falling, and be merciful to me. And I ask people to pray for me because the challenges are not easy.
Today is your first day. Considering all these challenges you have mentioned, if you had a choice, will you still become a priest?
If I tell you that there is another thing in this world that can interest me, I am telling a big fat head lie, because priesthood is what I am born for, and I will take it 100 and 1,000 more times to become a priest, because you see, you communicate with God. God reveals his secret to you. I overcome my challenges because each time I want to be disappointed or to be discouraged, Jesus will open to me what is awaiting me for the glory, what I'm doing, the challenges I'm going there. There is a reward that is waiting for me, and this is what makes me go further. And that's the greatest secret, to fix your eyes on Jesus Christ, not on human beings or distractions of this world. So it is so challenging, but the most interesting kind of thing we can ever give testimony for.
Thank you so much, Father Bekumu Christopher, Catholic priest based here in the city of Douala. And that's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, dear viewers, for your keen attention. Stay in the company of more interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Equinoxe, it's up next.